All right, let's dive into the Bhagavad Gita. We're tackling some seriously old wisdom, but you know what? It's still so relevant today.
Absolutely. And that's what's so amazing about it. Thousands of years old, and it still speaks to us.
Exactly. And today, we're zeroing in on Chapter 5.
Yeah.
And this whole idea of karma yoga.
Hmm.
You've probably heard the term, but trust me, this deep dive,
Yeah,
it's going to give you a whole new understanding.
absolutely. It's going to blow your mind. Because what we're really talking about here is how to live a good life. Like, what's the point of it all?
Right. And the Gita gives us some seriously insightful answers.
It really does.
So let's set the scene. We've got Arjuna, our warrior, facing this huge battle, and he is just overwhelmed. Family, friends, everyone's on both sides. What does he do?
Right. I mean, talk about pressure. Imagine being in his shoes. This isn't just like, do I order pizza or tacos?
Right.
This is life or death, and the fate of everyone he knows is hanging in the balance.
It's like the ultimate fight or flight moment.
Exactly. But amplified times 1,000.
Right. So what does he do? Does he fight
Yeah.
or walk away?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And here's what's so cool. The Gita doesn't give us a simple answer. It doesn't say, do this, not that.
Right.
It explores both paths.
Now interesting.
Renouncing action, just like I'm out, or embracing what we call karma yoga, devotional action, and get this, both can lead to liberation.
Whoa, okay. So it's less about the what and more about the how.
You got it. It's not about what you do, but why you do it and how you do it.
Okay. And that's where this idea of detachment comes in, right?
Detachment is key. And don't get hung up on the word like you have to be some emotionless robot. It's more about letting go.
Letting go of what?
Attachment to the outcome. You're not withdrawing from the world. You're just choosing to act without needing a certain result.
It's like that line in the text about the tree.
Yes, that's a perfect example. You could chop off every branch, right? Looks like you've solved the problem. But the root, still there, it'll just grow back.
Oh, I see.
So it's not enough to just change your actions on the surface. You have to address the root of your desires.
Okay. So how does this tie back into karma yoga?
So karma yoga in this sense is about action, but with that detachment, it's offering your actions to something bigger than yourself. The Gita says that even if you're trying to achieve liberation, but you're only focused on giving up material things, that's not true renunciation.
So it's about changing your focus from what's in it for me to how can I serve something greater?
Exactly. It's aligning your actions with a higher purpose, realizing we are all part of something much, much bigger.
I like that. And the text even says that thinking of karma yoga and like analytical study as separate paths, that's a mistake.
It is.
Because they both lead to the same source, right? Vishnu.
Exactly.
So when you see that both paths are ultimately leading you to the same place, then you're starting to see things as they are.
Exactly. You're seeing the bigger picture.
Okay, yeah, I like that. Which leads us to, I think, another really interesting point, being a constant renunciate. That sounds intense. What does that even look like day to day?
Right. Imagine a lotus leaf. It's in the water, surrounded by it, but the water doesn't stick to it.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about. You're not abandoning action. You're choosing to act with clarity, with purpose, but without being controlled by the outcome.
Okay, so we're talking about finding that inner peace.
Exactly.
Even in the chaos of life. It's not about being a robot.
No, not at all.
But it's about acting with intention, with awareness.
Precisely. And here's the thing. The text even says that just renouncing stuff might not actually bring you happiness.
Really?
Yeah, but devotional action, that can.
See, that's so interesting to me. I would have thought giving everything up, like that's the fast track to happiness. No desires, no attachments, right? Just bliss.
Well, that's where the text makes a distinction. It's not just about absence, right? It's about purification through action. Oh, okay.
Finding that purpose, that connection, aligning ourselves with something bigger. And that's what just withdrawing can lack.
So instead of just existing, it's about striving towards something meaningful.
Yeah, and contributing to the world around us. And you tap into a much deeper sense of fulfillment that way. You're not just passive.
Right.
You're channeling that energy towards something that's like beyond just you.
Okay, yeah. Now, the text also talks about specific qualities of someone who's like nailing this whole karma yoga thing.
Right.
And it's a pretty intense list. Pure of heart, controlled mind, senses, loved by all.
Yeah.
Unentangled, even though they're constantly doing stuff.
It's like, how do they do that? Well, it's a process, right? These aren't like entry requirements. These are the byproduct.
Oh, okay. So as you cultivate this awareness, these are like guideposts along the way.
Got it. Speaking of awareness, there's this one line that really got me. Even while speaking, evacuating, receiving, it is only the material senses engaged. It's kind of graphic, but
It's very direct, yeah.
but I love how it highlights that even the most basic stuff we do,
Yeah.
you can look at it through this lens of detachment.
It's just bringing it back to the core. Our true self isn't defined by these actions, right? There's a part of us that's untouched.
It's like cultivating that inner observer, just watching the show, not getting too caught up in the drama.
Exactly. And then that ties into another key point, Krishna as the ultimate beneficiary of all actions.
Okay, so that one, I have to admit, first it kind of threw me. It felt very religious.
I get it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be about blind obedience. Think of it more like we're part of this big cosmic dance, right?
Okay.
It's not about us doing what Krishna wants. It's about realizing our actions are part of something much, much bigger.
So it's a shift in perspective. It's not about him needing us to do his bidding. It's
about understanding the interconnectedness of everything. The text puts it well. The Supreme Lord is the supreme proprietor of all planets and their respective demigods. No one is greater than him.
okay. So how do we actually live that? Surrendering the fruits of our actions to a higher power. It sounds great in theory, but
It's a practice. It's not a one-time thing. It's letting go of control.
right.
Trusting that even when things don't go our way, there's something bigger at play.
So instead of all the what ifs, should-dones, we can find some peace in knowing we did our best.
It's finding that balance, right? Effort and surrender. You show up, you play your part, but then you gotta let go.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about when things get really tough, like really challenging?
Okay.
How does karma yoga help us then?
Those moments. Those are the biggest opportunities. That's where growth happens. You have to confront those limitations, let go of that control, really surrender to something beyond yourself.
So not avoiding those situations, but seeing them as chances to
deepen the practice.
Yeah.
To really get it. Connect to that peace that goes beyond just what's happening around you.
So it's not seeking suffering, but realizing that even in those moments,
There's a lesson there.
there's growth, learning.
And a deeper connection to something beyond just you.
Okay?
Think back to Arjuna on the battlefield. He's not running away. He's engaging.
Right.
And that's karma yoga in action.
It's not about achieving some perfect state, but embracing the messiness of it all.
And in that messiness, that's where the good stuff is. That's where you connect with the divine, with that essence that's in all of us.
It's like finding that strength to face anything.
Yeah, that inner strength. And the Gita reminds us we're not alone in this.
Right.
We've got this ancient wisdom to draw on a whole community, that connection to something so much bigger. It's like having a map and a compass, you know?
Totally. So even when we're feeling lost, we have the tools to find our way back to that peace, that connection. So for our listeners, what's one tangible thing they can do today to move towards that?
The Gita talks about offering even the smallest actions, right? Like think of something you do every day but totally on autopilot. What if you brought your full attention to it? Just this once.
Okay. So instead of rushing through my morning coffee,
Exactly.
actually smell it, taste it.
Yeah. You're not just going through the motions, you're present. And that changes everything.
It's like those everyday things become almost like mini meditations.
There you go. Finding that sacred in the ordinary.
I love that. It really is all about perspective, isn't it?
It really is. And that's the beauty of karma yoga, right? It's not about some big grand gesture. It's about those little things, bringing awareness, purpose into everything you do, each breath, each step.
This has been so insightful. Thank you so much. And I think that's a perfect note to end on, right? Finding that extraordinary in the ordinary.
Absolutely.
The divine's all around us. We just have to be open to it.
Beautifully said. The Gita reminds us life isn't about reaching some perfect state. It's about the journey, being present for all of it, and trusting that even when things are uncertain, there's something guiding us, always.
And that's something we can all hold on to. To our amazing listeners, thank you so much for joining us today on The Deep Dive. Keep those questions coming, keep seeking, keep exploring. We'll be back soon with another Deep Dive.